Hey there, and welcome to this week's episode of Ninja Mom Says. I actually just got out of karate. I'm feeling really good. I look like a mess, but I feel great, so I can't complain about that. This week I wanted to talk about pride. I think in Western culture we are very prideful, especially nowadays, and a sense of pride that's sort of really shifted in past years from, let's say pride in one's family, pride in one's country, pride in et cetera, et cetera. I think that we just have a lot of silly pride and sort of narcissistic pride now, in that we all want to feel capable. We want to feel qualified. We want to feel like we're good enough to do something. We want to feel affirmed in our decisions and our judgments. We want to feel validated. And from all these wants comes this sort of sense of, I think, this false sense of pride, in that we really don't like to ask for help when we really need it. And sometimes we don't even really realize when we do need help. And that's the other thing, is that, the lack of awareness. And this sort of breaks down for me in two ways. The first way is we don't seek help when we're trying to just complete a task. Many hands make light work premise. We don't seek help in completing tasks, number one. That's on the simpler spectrum. And then over here on the other side, number two, we don't ask for help as in seeking advice when we're unsure about something. So I wanted to break down these two things, whether it's seeking help to accomplish tasks or seeking advice when you're unsure. And I just want to talk a little bit about both. So let's say you need help accomplishing tasks. Let's just say you've got so much going on and you're really stressed out all the time and you're having a hard time just getting everything all done. A couple of things that you need to look at. First of all, what is holding you back from asking somebody to help you? Is it that you feel like you have a lack of support system? Let's say you've moved away for a job or a career and you don't really have a lot of family around to help you, and you don't really know a lot of people in the area. Maybe you just feel like there's a lack of people around to help you. Or maybe you don't want to burden anybody by asking. I think that this is especially true for me and for a lot of other people, because in today's very fast-paced society, we have less and less free time as it is. And so if you offer somebody your time, that is one of the greatest gifts that you can give somebody, because you're taking time out of your extraordinarily hectic and busy schedule in order to help somebody out. So if you're on that other end, a lot of people might feel disempowered to ask somebody for help, because we know how precious time is, and we don't want to burden anybody by saying, would you mind helping me move on Saturday? Or would you mind helping me out in my backyard? I could really use a hand with XYZ. Whatever it happens to be. So I think that's another huge one when, we're seeking help to accomplish tasks. A couple things to look at in that. So why do you feel, first of all, why do you feel held back from asking somebody to help you complete a task? If it's because you think that they might not want to help, ask them anyway. And the reason being is that if they tell you, oh, I'm so sorry, I'd love to help, but I have XYZ going on. Well, that's cool. They weren't offended that you asked them, but they politely declined. So there's no harm in asking, is what I'm trying to say. If they are unavailable, or if that's not their priority, or etc., they will let you know. But chances are you probably have more of a support network than you think, and people will probably be readily available and happy to help you out if you would only ask. And so that's one charge that I have for you. Just don't be afraid to ask somebody if you need help with something. Hey, I have to take down a few trees in my backyard, and I really could use some help with that. There's a lot of log lugging, whatever. Empower people to help you out. Many hands make light work. Oftentimes we feel like there's too much to do and not enough hours in a day. If you can empower people to help you chip away at those things, it's going to make the process so much easier. Inversely, if you have such a long to-do list where all of the things on your to-do list are non-delegatable, is that the word? You're not able to delegate to anybody else. Like, let's say there are things that have to be done by you. Like, you have to pay your bills. You have to talk to your, student loan company. You have to go to the bank. Things that are connected to your ID or, something like that. Things that you can't delegate. If you don't have any system where you can delegate, you have to find a better system of prioritizing and when you're going to get those things done so that you aren't completely overwhelmed. And that's another episode. So empower people to help you out, and there's no harm in asking. So that's on one side of the spectrum. Now on the other side of the spectrum, I was talking about seeking advice. Now this one is tricky. I think that oftentimes now, especially since there are all these sub-certifications and all these different things, we feel like if we come to somebody for advice, they've got to get paid for it. They've got to get compensated somehow, because there are coaches, there are fitness trainers, there are life coaches, there are therapists, there are advisors, there this and that. All these things are jobs now, whereas they weren't back in the day. So I feel like a lot of people feel disempowered for asking people for advice. Again, because they don't want to they don't want to bother people. Oh, am I taking up your time? Or, etc. But also because we have now a culture not of giving. Our culture is not of giving anymore. Our culture is of, oh, well, if I give you this advice, what am I going to get in return? Which is ridiculous, right? It's Indian giving, it's self-serving, it's ridiculous, and we are not a culture of people that come together and actually seek to help each other out. It makes me sad. But that's another story. Anyway, so let's take an example, right? You want to get fit. Okay. Maybe your first step is to say, hey, Facebook Hive Mind, what do you guys do to get fit? Now, there's a good part and a bad part to that. Social media enables us to connect with everybody and to ask people for advice. Now, if you put out a post on social media, you're not writing somebody directly an email. You're not writing somebody directly even a Facebook message or a text or a call. You're not directly addressing anyone. So actually there's some safety net in that. You're not directly bothering anybody. If anybody reads that and chooses to respond, it's on their own time. So it sort of takes away that risk factor of, ooh, am I bothering you? On the opposite side of the spectrum, are you really getting anywhere? Are you really getting the support that you need, or do you really want to ask X person, but you're too afraid to ask them directly, so that you're just going to put out a hive mind, and then X person doesn't see your question. So it's problematic as well. So let's say, okay, back to the example, you're getting fit, right? Okay, well, you know what? I'll join a gym. Cool, no problem. I'm going to join a gym. The problem is a gym is a venue. The gym is not the solution to your problem. The gym is a venue through which you can achieve the solution to your problem. But the gym is just a venue. So you get there and you're like, oh, what are all these machines? What are all these things? I don't really know what I'm doing. I guess I'll just lift some weights, or I'll go, you know what? I'll go on the elliptical because they've got a movie playing on the screen. So I'll just run on the elliptical and then my problem will be over, right? No. You need a plan. You need a plan. The gym is a venue. It is not the solution to your problem. So you go in a gym, right? And then you get overwhelmed because you're like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing. But then it's so scary at the gym. I've been there, especially when I was first trying to get fit. I joined a gym. I was like, yeah, I'm going to join Planet Fitness. It's super cheap. Yeah. And I'm going to get the black card because then it means I can get to all sorts of locations depending on where I am for my work or my school. And then I get there and then I'm like, oh crap, what am I doing? So and then you're in the gym, you're totally intimidated. You don't want to bother the other gym goers because they're too busy working out. You don't want to ask the gym owners because then they're going to try to rope you into, shelling out more money for personal trainers. But actually, the personal trainers are the people you should be talking to because they have the advice, right? Ask a personal trainer or ask a coach, or even just go to your buddy who post all sorts of fitness related things on Facebook and actively message them personally and say, listen, can we have a one-on-one, trying to get healthy, etc., etc. You're going to get way better information than just trying to wing it at the gym without a plan, all right? Or hive-minding Facebook and then getting all sorts of nebulous results. So, what I would just say in terms of that side where we feel disempowered to ask people for help or seek advice when we need it, If you had a problem with your hip, you're not just going to say, hey, Facebook Hive Mind, I have serious issues with my hip. How do I fix it? No, you're going to go to an orthopedist, because an orthopedist is a specialized doctor who knows how to help you. And yeah, you might have to pay a copay, but you know what? You're going to go to that person because it's the right person to help you out with your problem. That sort of mentality can be applied towards a bunch of different things. If you want to get fit, ask a coach, ask a personal trainer, directly message a buddy of yours who seems like they have a really good fitness regime going on. Figure it out, but don't just wing it because you're too afraid to ask somebody for help. If you need help, ask for it. Back to a little bit about pride, right? So I want to take my own personal fitness journey just to give you a little bit of information and insight. About 4 or 5 years ago now, oh my gosh, it's been like 5 years, I wanted to get fit. And I did it by myself. And I'm not saying that as a sense of pride, I did it by myself. But a lot of people, I think they want that satisfaction. Yeah, I can get fit by myself, or I can do blah, blah, blah by myself. I don't need anybody's help. I'm self-sufficient. I'm a badass. I can do it myself. But why does that matter? As long as you achieved your results, why would that matter that you did it by yourself? First of all, we are a community type of people. People inherently, they want to commune together. So you're, 99% of the time, you're really not doing anything precisely by yourself, right? Maybe you take a shower by yourself, but, getting fit by yourself, like, what does that mean? You're always talking to people, interacting with people. They see what you're doing. It's inherently an interactive process. So why don't you draw more people into your journey? What I did was I actually did get fit by myself. I was ashamed of myself. I hated the way I looked. I hated the way I felt. I got P90X. I started doing a bunch of workouts in the privacy of my own home because I was way too embarrassed to go to a gym. I was way too embarrassed to work out with friends. I was super self-conscious throughout my whole journey. All right. I was trying to eat clean, but I really didn't know how to do that, and I was miserable with my eating plan. I didn't know what I was doing. Eventually, I got to healthy habits, but it was a really long, hard road of struggle by myself. I would not wish that upon anybody. So if you want to get fit, or if you have this huge goal, don't keep it to yourself. Empower people to help you and be there beside you and support you. It's going to make the journey so much better. All right. I took a summer and I just completely overhauled, but it was the worst summer ever. It was filled with excruciating self-doubt and misery. And I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. So if you have a big goal, it's okay to be humble about that and not to just plaster all over your walls. Hey, bleh, but you can empower your loved ones and your friends and your family to help you out, to make good decisions. Tell them, listen, I want to do XYZ, and I would love it if you could support me in XYZ way. There's nothing wrong with that. If they truly love you and support you, they're going to support you. They're going to be by your side to help you out in that journey. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Don't be too prideful. Life is too short. If you need help, just ask. It's going to make everything so much easier. There's no shame in asking for help. There's no shame in it because the right people in your life will want to help you. Thanks, folks. Have a good week.